It's Kardea Brown and welcome to my home kitchen here on Edisto Island, South Carolina. We are making Nashville hot chicken sandwiches. When I feel like something spicy, this is my go-to. I'm using my house-made seasoning on this chicken, which is going to give it an extra burst of flavor. And the great thing about it, you can use it on almost anything. Here's a little housekeeping before we begin. Get a Dutch oven. Pour at least 4 inches of a neutral oil. You can use canola or vegetable oil. Heat it up to 365 degrees. Also line 2 sheet trays with wire racks. All right, let's get cooking. We've talked about the house seasoning. Let's make it. We have 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. And these are just going to be equal parts. 1 teaspoon of sweet paprika. 1 teaspoon of granulated garlic. 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Let's give it a whisk. All right, set that aside and let's start our dredging station. We're going to use 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Put that onto a plate. Into a separate bowl, add 1/2 cup of hot sauce. And 2 cups of buttermilk, full fat. Okay. Give it a whisk. And I've already cut my chicken breast in half. You should have 4 bone-less, skin-on chicken breasts. Take some of our house seasoning and let's season our chicken. Both sides. Just rub that seasoning in on the skin and on the back. Let's wash our hands. Let's start to dredge. Take 1 of your chicken breasts, roll it around in the flour. Essentially, we're going to just double bread. Flour, buttermilk, flour. And we're going to do that until we're done. Shake off any excess flour. Roll it around in your buttermilk. Drip off any of that buttermilk mixture. Bring it back to your flour. This is going to create a super crunchy crust. Shake it off, put it on your wire rack. Repeat. I love a Nashville hot chicken sandwich. It's spicy, it's a tad sweet because I add some brown sugar in there. It is my go-to sandwich. And I make a slaw that is to die for that goes on top. You're going to love it. And when doing this, I like to keep one hand clean. And Nashville hot chicken is a comfort food for me because it just reminds me of growing up in the South with those fried chicken Fridays. And the addition of this spicy sweet sauce definitely takes me back, not to home, but close to home. This should be your last piece. Okay, let's wash our hands. All right, let's head over to the stove. All right, the oil should be at 365. Let's put our chicken in the oil, skin side down first. You should be able to fit all 4 pieces in at one time. All right, so let's not bother the chicken. Let it do its thing for about 10 minutes. Now we're making our Nashville hot sauce. We're gonna start with 1 stick of unsalted butter. We're gonna let that butter melt. Add 1 teaspoon of the house seasoning, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now this Nashville hot chicken is spicy. That's where you're gonna get some of that heat from. The seasoning comes from the house seasoning. You're gonna also add in some hot sauce. Give it a little extra depth of hot. That's 1 cup of hot sauce. So let's add 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. Use a spoon, give it a stir. Make sure your heat is on low. All right, I'm gonna let this go for 5 minutes. Hit pause and meet me back here when your chicken is done. It's been a little over 10 minutes. Our chicken is done. Take it out. Ooh, look at that. Perfectly golden brown. Now that's what I call fried chicken. Look at that big one right there. Oh yeah. I don't know about you, but my mouth is watering. All right, turn your heat off and make sure you turn the heat off on your sauce as well. Okay. Let's make our slaw. We are making a southern slaw. Let's start off with the dressing. 1/4 cup of mayo. This slaw is gonna go on top of our Nashville hot chicken. Dump your mayo into a bowl. 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Two teaspoons of sugar. A pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper. Give it a whisk. My definition of a southern slaw, it's tangy and it's a little sweet. Okay? Put that to the side. All right, we're gonna use half of this red cabbage. We're gonna make about 1 cup of shredded carrots. Let's get started on the cabbage. I just like going right down the center, avoiding the stem because it's really hard to cut. Okay. Set this to the side. Okay. Take some of that center out. Let's thinly slice our cabbage. Let's put our red cabbage in the bowl. Let's slice our shallot. A shallot is a milder onion. If you can't find a shallot, which should be easy to find in the produce section, you can also use an onion of your choice, yellow, red, sweet onion, Vidalia onion, whatever you got on hand. Add it to your bowl. Might want to break it up a bit. All right. And let's shred 1 cup of carrots. All right, that should be about 1 cup of shredded carrots. Let's add it to our bowl. Using your tongs, give it a mix. Make sure you're gathering some of that dressing from the bottom to the top. All right, I'm gonna clean up a bit, hit pause, meet me back here so we can build our sandwiches. All right, we have everything set up to build our sandwich. All that's left is to build it. Take your chicken, move it around in your hot sauce. Oh man, look at that color on that chicken. Don't you be stingy with that sauce. You gotta soak it in there, okay? All right, I have toasted some potato rolls with a little butter. What I like to do now is add my pickles at the bottom. You can too. I like a lot of pickles, so I'm gonna go heavy. Take your chicken, place it on top of your pickles. Get some of that southern slaw and put it right on top. All right. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's okay if it falls apart. It's supposed to be messy. And what I like to do is get a little bit more of that sauce and drizzle it on top. Close your sandwich. Take a bite. It's spicy. It's a little sweet. It's definitely tangy. That potato roll just cools it down a little bit. The pickles add a little zing-zang to it as well. It's a pretty decent sandwich.